Hello, it's Foreign News O'Clock on All News Nigeria. I am Okwemi Olugbemi. Here are the headlines for today. England bishops refuse gay marriage. Clash looms over plans to cancel EU-derived laws. China's population falls for the first time since 1961. Now the news in details. Church of England bishops have refused to back a change in teaching to allow priests to marry same-sex couples. The Church of England's bishop met on Tuesday to finalize their recommendations after 5 years of consultation and debate on the church's position on sexuality. Their proposal will be debated at the church's equivalent of a parliament, General Synod, next month. Several bishops present at the meeting said the church's teaching that holy matrimony is only between one man and one woman would not change and would not be put to a vote. It comes after years of debate over the issue. Same-sex marriage has been legal in England and Wales since 2013, but when the law changed, the church did not change its teaching. In 2017, the Church of England began an extended consultation period called Living in Love and Faith. In November last year, the Bishop of Oxford became the most senior Church of England bishop to publicly back a change in the church's teaching. Although a handful of others supported him, they remained in the minority. The refusal to propose a vote on allowing same-sex marriage is likely to anger campaigners for change within the church.
Genesis 2 and Matthew 19 demonstrate that all sexual expression outside the lifelong and permanent union of one man and woman is sinful.
Some have already revealed they will ask the synod to strike out the bishop's proposals next month. Meanwhile, ministers are facing a clash with oppositions and Conservative MPs over their plans to scrap EU-era laws copied over to UK law after Brexit. Under government proposals, thousands of laws are due to expire automatically after December unless specifically kept or replaced. It has prompted concerns that important legislation could lapse by accident. Labour wants to push the end-of-year deadline back to 2026, arguing it will ensure employment rights are retained. And several Tory bank benchers, including former Brexit Secretary David Davis, are backing an attempt to give MPs a greater say over what is scrapped. So far, the government has identified more than 2,400 EU laws that were copied over to UK law to minimize disruption to businesses when the UK officially left the EU in 2020. Under their plan, the government will have until the end of September to draw up a list of laws it wants to scrap, with MPs then able to add or remove legislation from the list after a vote. Mr. Davis, a former Brexit secretary and leading figure in the campaign to leave the EU, said he wanted MPs to be in the driving seat, not government department. The aim of the Leave campaign had been to give power to Westminster, not to Whitehall. Official estimates indicate that removing or replacing EU-era laws by the December deadline will require the government to pass around 1,000 new pieces of legislation. The government says this process is an opportunity to make regulations more business-friendly and rejects the suggestion that environmental or employment protections will be watered down. Lastly, on the news, China's population has fallen for the first time in 60 years, with the national birth rate hitting a record low 6.77 births per 1,000 people. The population in 2022, over 1.4 billion, fell by 850,000 from 2021. China's birth rate has been declining for years, prompting a slew of policies to try to slow the trend. But 7 years after scrapping the one-child policy, it has entered what one official described as an era of negative population growth. The birth rate in 2022 was also down from 7.52 in 2021, according to China's National Bureau of Statistics, which revealed the figures on Tuesday. The birth rate in 2022 was also down from 7.52 in 2021, according to China's National Bureau of Statistics, which released the figures on Tuesday. China's population trends over the years have been largely shaped by the controversial one-child policy, which was introduced in 1979 to slow population growth. Families that violated the rules were fined and, in some cases, even lost jobs. In a culture that historically favors boys over girls, the policy had also led to forced abortions and a reportedly skewed gender ratio from the 1980s. The policy was scrapped in 2016, and married couples were allowed to have 2 children. In recent years, the Chinese government also offered tax breaks and better maternal health care, among other incentives to reverse or at least slow the falling birth rate. But these policies did not lead to a sustained increase in the births. Some experts say this is because policies that encouraged childbirth were not accompanied by efforts to ease the burden of childcare, such as more help for working mothers or access to education. In October 2022, Chinese President Xi Jinping made boosting birth rates a priority. Mr. Xi said in a once-in-a-5-year Communist Party Congress in Beijing that his government would pursue a proactive national strategy in response to the country's aging population. And that's it on today's news. To keep up with all news Nigeria, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. Stay tuned on our channel for more updates. I am Opeyemi.